The opening scene features a carefree guy and a Hollywood bombshell in a shiny black room. At first glance, the setting resembles a professional studio with a dark backdrop, but the floor immediately stands out, smooth and reflective, almost like glass. The tension is palpable. At one point, they begin to undress. Mesmerized by the woman's sultry allure, he follows her like a moth drawn to a flame, moving deeper into the enigmatic space. His confident expression screams, "This is going to be the night of my life." Unfortunately for him, he's dead wrong. His evening takes a wildly unexpected turn. The seductive woman offers him an after-party he'll never forget, but also never get the chance to talk about. As he trails her, he suddenly sinks into a mysterious pool of black liquid, as if caught in quicksand. Completely helpless and unable to comprehend what's happening, he disappears into the void. Meanwhile, the woman remains composed and unmoved. She's achieved her goal. The scene is chilling, cold, and masterfully sets the stage for the unsettling events to follow. The day before, we meet this mysterious woman. Let's call her Carla. She's shopping for clothes and makeup. After picking up a few essentials, she's ready to begin her strange, otherworldly mission. Dressed in a fur coat and driving a white van, she's ready to hit the streets of Scotland, embarking on her deadly mission. With her van as her weapon, she begins prowling for prey. Her strategy: lure lonely, unsuspecting men off the street with flirty small talk and the promise of something intimate. Each victim is different, and their brief interactions give glimpses of their personalities. But regardless of their quirks or charms, their fates are all identical. Black goo oblivion. One night, as she cruises through the city searching for her next target, she's unexpectedly swept into a nightclub by a lively group of women. Here, we get a glimpse of Carla as more than just a serial killer. She's a bona fide sociopath. She's awkward, out of place, and clearly uninterested in socializing. Desperate to escape, she sneaks away. And outside the club, her luck changes. She spots an easy target, a carefree young man. The opportunity is too good to pass up. So she works her charm. With her calm, sultry demeanor, she pulls him in. A few flirtatious glances, a little small talk, a couple of enticing dance moves, and bingo, the poor guy, convinced he's about to live out a fantasy, eagerly follows her into the van. They drive to an abandoned house, and the trap is set. Once again, the floor transforms into an eerie, reflective, inky pool. Mesmerized by her allure, he walks forward, stripping off his clothes one by one. He steps further and further until, without warning, he begins to sink. His expression shifts from dreamy anticipation to raw terror, but it's already too late. Suspended in the goo, he's dazed and panicked, his eyes darting around in confusion. Above him, Carla walks on water smoothly, and then he notices something that freezes him in place. Another victim is there, suspended in the black abyss, staring back at him. The man's wide, vacant eyes are filled with shock. It's clear he's been trapped there for days. Suddenly, his body begins to collapse in on itself like a deflating balloon, leaving nothing but an empty shell behind. After seducing and eliminating several men, one day Carla's van breaks down on the road, and she finds herself lost in the middle of nowhere. Carla meets a man while drifting, at the moment when she begins to question her existence. On the bus, the man gets closer to her and then invites her to his place, a modest but warm space, the opposite of the dark and disturbing dens where she usually attracts her victims. They exchange a few words, he cooks her something to eat, and almost naively, she cannot resist the urge to stay at his place. She also expresses her deepest desires as she looks at herself in the mirror. When he approaches her for the first time, he does not do it as a predator but as an equal partner. This changes the dynamic. There is a vulnerability in him that contrasts with Scarlett's calculating coldness. However, over the course of the exchanges, a desire emerges. For him, of course, but also for her in an almost experimental sense. She wants to explore the carnal bond. The suspense builds as the couple begins to get physically closer. Carla seems both curious and hesitant at first, but ends up playing along. Everything goes well, The two lovebirds prepare to make love. As they prepare to do so, the tension reaches its peak until the fateful moment. He can't stick it in. They discover something abnormal.
All right.
Frustrated and disoriented after her unsettling attempt to fulfill her desires, she walks the streets without any real goal and disoriented. Then, Carla finds herself wandering along a stormy beach. The crashing waves mirror her inner chaos, a tempest of emotions she cannot fully grasp. She notices a man preparing to surf, but their brief interaction is interrupted by shouts. A family is struggling against the unforgiving waves, perilously close to drowning. Rather than stepping in to help or even merely watching, Carla's darker instincts surface. As the man rushes to aid the struggling family, she silently follows him, calculating her move. Once his strength is nearly spent, Carla strikes. With a rock in hand, she delivers a brutal blow, ending his efforts instantly. There's no seduction this time, no subtlety, no pretense of connection. It's raw, violent, and deliberate, i.e., primal act that seems to channel her frustration and confusion into sheer brutality. Amid the chaos, the family's baby is left stranded on the beach, wailing helplessly. She drags the lifeless man. For Carla, this isn't murder, it's merely an act of predation. The violence is a means to an end, a necessary step in fulfilling her obscure and enigmatic mission. The next night, Carla again roams the streets in her van, her predatory gaze scanning the passing faces. Eventually, she finds a new potential victim, a man walking alone. He's no typical mark. His face bears significant deformity, his features twisted in ways that invite stares and judgment from others. She lures him into her van with the same detached charm she's used so many times before. He hesitates, clearly unused to such attention, but eventually agrees to join her. Inside, their interaction unfolds differently. As they converse, something begins to shift within her. For the first time, Carla isn't just mimicking human connection, she seems to feel the faint stirrings of it. When the time comes to lead him into the inky void of her trap, this time it's a slightly different. The young man is not entirely at ease, but ends up succumbing to the dark and hypnotic beauty. But when Carla looks at herself in the mirror, she falters. It's clear this encounter has left her shaken, so she lets him go. Her hesitation is a turning point, a rare glimpse. As the man disappears into the night, unscathed and oblivious to how close he came to death, her crisis of identity has reached its peak. She eventually seeks refuge into the wilderness. As she ventures deeper in the woods, Carla encounters a lone man, an ominous presence in the otherwise tranquil setting. Unlike her previous victims, he doesn't need to be seduced or lured. His intentions are immediately clear, his demeanor aggressive and menacing. Carla's vulnerability is palpable. She's stripped of her usual tools of manipulation, and for the first time, she's entirely exposed. The man corners her, his sinister intentions becoming increasingly apparent. She runs in the woods in vain, but as he attacks, she struggled with all her strength but was unable to defend herself. On the brink of being raped, something extraordinary happened. Carla's body and skin are damaged, revealing the true alien form under the skin. The man recoils in horror, his bravado instantly replaced with terror. Carla's dark, otherworldly skin gleams, her alien nature fully exposed. In the end, the man runs away, leaving the creature in shock. But against all expectations, he comes back with diesel and, driven by fear and rage, sets her ablaze. Carla's form crumbles in the fire, her alien self consumed by flames. As the forest is illuminated by the flickering light of her destruction, a profound silence falls over the scene.